Thank you very much, Mara, for the welcome address. Once again, I would like to say thank you to the president of Student Christian Movement. I can also see the treasurer, and I know there are a lot more from the WACAT department. Thank you so much for honoring our invitation by joining tonight. So I would like to inform us that the program is just going to run for an hour, hopefully by 9, max by 9:05, we should be done this night. So in case you have questions, when the facilitator is speaking, you can please type your question in the chat box so that he can actually see those questions and respond when it's time for question and answer. So our resource person for tonight is a vibrant youth who has been in the mental health space for a while now. And he has this very, very beautiful name. Hopefully he will do an introduction of himself too when he comes online, but he has been in the mental health. He's a registered nurse, and he's also an SCMA. He's a member of the Student Christian Movement. So without wasting much of our time, please let's welcome our facilitator in person of Jemimah. Jemimah Thomas. You're welcome, Jemimah Thomas. Thank you for joining us today. The floor is yours.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can, but not too clearly.
Oh, okay. How about now? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Jemimah. By the grace of God, I'm the facilitator for today's event. First and foremost, I want to thank SCM, and I want to thank Shinamind Foundation for the opportunity to talk on this topic, which is very peculiar and something I'm very much interested in. Like our moderator said, I'm also an SCMA. I'm an SCMA. I want to especially appreciate our national president for her presence, for taking out time to join us today. Mrs. Solomon, the WACAT coordinator, and everyone who is in the house. I'm very grateful to have each and every one of you here. So my name is Jemimah. Yes, I know it's feminine, but it's my name, and it means I laugh again in my dialect. So that's that for that, because the moderator was saying I have a wonderful name. Yes, it's my name. We are wasting much of our time. Let's go into the topic for today. It's mental health. I hope you guys can hear me.
Yeah, very well.
All right.
Very well.
All right. So the topic for today is making mental health and well-being your priority. And I hope with the few minutes I have, I will be able to expatiate as much as I can on the issue called mental health. Because one thing I've noticed is that mental health is usually stereotyped one way. And a lot of people don't know that there are a lot of things. Mental health itself is broad, it's dynamic, it's interwoven with a whole lot of things. So I will just try to elaborate on these things, and if time permits, I might speak on one or two issues that are mental health related. But I'll just speak generally on mental health and then how we can be better in terms of taking good care of our mental health. Okay, so mental health basically is the health status of your emotions, of your psychology, and of your social well-being. Basically, it's just how you think, how you feel, and the way you act. That's mental health. the way you feel, the way you think, the way you act. Those are the components that make up mental health. So that's basically the basic definition for mental health. And if we take a good look at this definition, we see that these are the three vital components that makes up a person. These are the three vital components that makes up our daily living, our perception of ourselves, our perception of society, our values, our everything is based on this thing. That's why mental health is so important, and it's so vast that we cannot even exhaust it, because it's like the very, very core of the human existence. It sits as the basis aside physical health as we know it. Mental health is like the second most vital part of human existence. So that's the definition of mental health. And having a look at this definition, you see that it's something that is actually needed to be talked about. It's something that is actually needed to be elaborated on in every sphere of life, for the fact that it's the very essence, or it makes up the entirety of the human mind, of the human existence. It's something that should be talked about in every sphere, not just in the health field, but also in business, in tech, in farming. For me, there's this thing I say whenever I'm opportunity to talk about mental health. I say this, and is that for every sphere of life that we have humans involved, mental health should be of utmost priority. Every sphere of life, as long as there are humans that are in that organization that makes up that sphere of life, mental health is of utmost priority, and it should be of utmost priority.
Yeah.
It should be of utmost priority. But unfortunately, we find ourselves in a location, or in a location or an environment that's not so enlightened on the issue of mental health. And even those that are enlightened are not really, really taking it serious. Nigeria, as a case study, we see that the issue of mental health is little or nothing to write home about, because there are two extremities I've seen in mental health in Nigeria that is making it so that we don't really look at mental health. There are two extremities. One of the extremities is that there are people who just talk about mental health for the sake of, we call it catching cruise, in quotes. They just want to catch cruise. So any little thing they mental health, any little thing they're saying mental health. And so it's as though the word mental health has lost its value in Nigeria. It has lost its essence in our community. So nobody really sees it as what it is, because everybody is just using it to catch cruise, in quotes. And then we have another extremity that uses mental health as a basis or an excuse for irresponsible living. Someone will do something, and then instead of owning up or being accountable for that thing, she or she plays out the mental health card. And you know that once you play that thing, everybody will be like, don't interfere, don't interfere. You don't know what the person is going through. So these are the extremities I've seen in our immediate locality that makes it look as if the issue of mental health is not being properly addressed. It's not being properly addressed. So I hope that we can create a system, we can create an avenue where we can adequately tackle the issue of mental health in Nigeria. Now, like I said, I want to read us of some certain stereotypes in mental health. Now, when we say mental health, the first thing that comes to the mind of people, a lot of people, is depression and bipolar and suicidal tendencies, schizophrenia, and all these psychotic disorders. In as much as those things are very, very true, they are mental health issues, and then we must look into them and address them. I've come to realize that mental health is broader than that. It's not just depression. It's not just bipolar. It's not just um, suicidal tendencies and all these well-defined mental health issues that we know. There are some subtle characters, there are some subtle lifestyle, there are some subtle ways of life that we we exhibit, we do on a daily, sometimes consciously, sometimes unconsciously. And these things, they play a role in affecting our mental health. You don't see a 1-year-old baby that is depressed, right? I mean, a 6-year-old baby, 6-month-old baby cannot be depressed, or rather, we cannot diagnose depression for such people. Depression, we cannot say that baby is depressed at that stage. So that means there must be something, there must be an experience or a lifestyle over time that have been accumulated that led to depression for an adult. So those things that, accumulate to the mainstream mental health issues are things that we are actually supposed to be looking at. For me, I feel they are the grassroots of mental health issues that should be tackled, and we are not really paying attention to them. I will give some few examples. Some things like self-doubt, some things like self-sabotage, imposter syndrome, what else? Imposter syndrome, procrastination, indecisiveness. These little things, sometimes we don't even know that these things exist, or we don't settle down to examine ourselves and know that, okay, we are actually having these issues. We just move on with life, carry them along. Our slogan in Nigeria, we move. And so these things, they accumulate till it gets to a point where the person can no longer bear it, and then it becomes a full-blown issue. And then we'll start talking about, there's a need for mental health sensitization and all that. Whereas if we had addressed these things from the onset, if we had taken time to raise awareness on these things, I call them little foxes, that's my term for them, that we can, if we could address these little foxes on time, then we would have very little to worry about concerning things like depression and the rest of them. So what can we do? What can we do to make all this to make mental health more in the mainstream media? What can we do to raise awareness? What can we do? We should try as much as we can to organize seminars like this. We should try as much as we can to educate people as often as we can. For me, I feel there should be a systematic way the government can include the issue of mental health in our curriculum, especially in the secondary school, because that is where it starts. That is basically where the foundations of our life is formed. That's basically where our foundations are formed. So if we can inculcate a curriculum that addresses these grassroots mental health issues, how to deal. I know some secondary schools have things like guidance and counseling. Yes, they are good, but if we can identify these triggers, if we can have a curriculum set aside on how to deal with them, on how to handle them, then we will know that we're making progress for the next generation. We won't have much to worry about in terms of mental health, because we've started addressing it from the grassroots. So there must be awareness. There must be a way for mental health to be inserted in our curriculum, especially for the secondary schools, because that's the foundation of a lot of people. There must be incorporation of mental health in the grassroots health sector, the local government healthcare, the CHUs, the health workers that works in these health centers in the villages where people are not, opportune to come to mainstream media. These people, they don't have Facebook, they don't have Twitter, they don't have Instagram, so they can't come, or even if they have, they don't really know how to navigate